Right, it's the 4 leading shoe brake for the BSA Rocket Goldstar, and I've got no idea basically how it goes together. I have, but I don't know, so we've got to look and see what we got, where it goes, how it works, or how I think it works.
There must be similarities though.
Yeah, it's getting
They're brake shoes.
bent brake shoes.
That's all the help I'm going to give you.
Right, we've got 4 of them. I've got no idea who made this, what brake it is or anything. I just don't know. Four cams, 4 brake cams. Should be their spacer washers. Don't know what they're for. They're your brake springs. Obviously a lot of shims and stuff. I'd like to see another one of those somewhere with a longer thread on it, but maybe not. That is the right hand side. Your arm comes down and holds that from turning. A bit of cloth.
Cloth.
Well, a pair of jeans. So, just trying to see. I don't think that much difference in a lining length is going to make that much difference to it, to be fair. Normally on a leading shoe and a secondary shoe.
What are you looking for?
Different lengths in those linings. Possible because you normally have a longer shoe and a shorter shoe, but they're not far enough apart to make any difference at all, you know. See, these have all been adapted because these holes have been filled and things, so who knows what they are, where they go. Right, so we'll take it that these are roughly the same. That looks quite parallel round there, so that's going to be about right. I don't think they're hitting anything. They all look the same, the only difference might be the offset of the square bits on the ends. So your springs will go in there. Right, so that's the front, that's the top. That's got to be to hold your brake cable, so that's got to go that way, I would say, but I've got to get that in square. So that doesn't line up with that square. Let's have a look and see if they're different. Right, see that? They've both got to go in, they've both got a flat there and there, yeah? So that's your shoe that actuates it, your arm, your cam that actuates it. But you see those squares are offset to each other. That one looks slightly longer, so let's try him in there. Right, that's closer, isn't it? Obviously this must have all sorts of shim washers and stuff everywhere to make it all work nicely. Right, that's your basic principle of it, without a doubt. But the bit that worries me is your brake cable's obviously got to run there. Now that'll be the centre line of your forks roughly, so I'm not quite sure where the brake cable's They must be on these. And that's really not nice, just going through the aluminium like that. It's all going to be sitting at funny angles. I don't suppose that's too bad of an angle, is it? Just make sure they're shut. Shut. Yeah, it's not actually a bad pull angle, but that's sort of hitting that and stuff. I don't quite know till it's on the bike, but the basic principle of it is simple. You can only go together one way.
Yeah.
But it's getting these angles and everything worked out. And why have they re-drilled them when there's holes? You can see the hole there and a hole there. Till I put it together on the bike, it's that angle there that worries me. So that's your anchor pin. Your fork angle will be running through like that. It's not the prettiest I've ever seen. I'd prefer it back on that hole there maybe, but...
Says you re-drilled the hole.
Yeah, they've been drilled and filled and all sorts, because you've got
So the original hole was probably the better angle?
Well, that one isn't far out. No, it's just further down. That I don't think that's the end of the world. Just be what it'll be then, won't it? The only way you can alter it is by adjusting that length there, which you don't want to do. Just quite a tight line, and it's your forks. I suppose if they run up the fork leg, it won't be that bad. Tied to the fork leg. Possibly what these clips were for. Missing the straps, but it's only a piece of metal. Maybe to tie those back to the fork leg.
Could be.
Got all your shim washers in there. Clips to go on the edges of those. As long as you shim them out all exactly the same, because obviously you don't want that.
Yeah.
So all of that's got to be probably a shim washer either side, and then you adjust them. You've got a right and a left hand thread. You just turn that bar, so they obviously need packing up to clear that bar.
Yeah.
And then you just you've got a right hand thread and a left hand thread. Basically you adjust them up till they bottom out, and then just take it back off a little bit, then you do your cable adjustment. So that one's been machined out. So they're probably on the wrong way round. No, nothing been machined on that. Nothing been machined on that. Right, so where that original bolt went in there, that small one, that's why they've machined the back of those shoes out to clear it.
Right.
So that gives me some indication of where they... You should have two that are machined and two that aren't. So that will be that one there, to clear that. I mean, that's a bit worn out, isn't it? 4 written on that. I think that's that and that, because that's got 4 and 4 written on it. And if you're taking it apart, you'd only mark it on that side, so that's the way up they go, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's that one. That's got the same sort of marking on it, hasn't it? I would say. Okay. Well, it will work, I think. Obviously, you've got to put a nut on there and make sure you've got enough clearance on the inside of the hub, which I think you probably have. There's no difference in height on those, so I would think the shorter one, you've got enough thread there to get a nice lock nut on it. That there should pivot, so any stress because that will never flow in a straight arc.
No.
That can never go up and down because of the nature of it.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a pivot there, but it will always go somewhere else. So those will probably sort of move very slightly. But again, till you put it all together, it's a bit hard to know. But I don't want to get into that now because you're into a world of pain. We ain't got time to mess around with that.